Hello, and welcome to episode 41 of the Great Canadian Hockey Podcast. This is the first one of 2024. I am stoked to have you here, and I'm presuming so is my co-host Aiden Sarah, unless he suddenly hates our devout listeners. How are you doing, fella? How's this year feeling so far? Where are we at?
I had this thought as you were delivering your intro. I know we haven't been doing the podcast this long, but correct me if I'm wrong. 2024 is the third year that the Great Canadian Hockey Podcast is a thing.
That's
Not
right.
that we've been doing it for 3 years, because far from it, but 22, 23, and now 24. I think that's cool. That's my opening thought to this one, to this year of the GCHP. Did I get that right? Yeah, I got
Yeah,
that.
GCHP. It's not an acronym that has a great ring to it, but it looks nice-ish.
It doesn't look bad. Yeah, when I abbreviate it in like my Twitter bio, I like it.
Yeah, I recently did a safety around gas course for my upcoming new type of employment, and one of the acronyms the instructor used was EPRFROM.
How do
Tell
you
me you're
remember?
gonna remember what EPRFROM stands for, because I don't.
No shot.
Not even a chance. And I think there were like two E's and two A's to start it. So not easy, not easy. But one of the great things about this time of year, and I just realized I said great the same way I would talk about great games to play on this podcast. Um, one of the great things about this time of year is how much hockey we have going on between World Juniors, between Winter Classic, between NHL pausing and coming back with a million games on at a time. It's a time of year where no matter where you are, you can throw a couple games on. Like, I mean, aside from World Juniors, which we'll get to later, what have you been watching? How's hockey been for you lately?
It's been dominated by the World Juniors, man. Like it always is. Because I will also like when I wake up, it's on, and then I will just throw on the games from the morning that I recorded the night before as well, just to try and get as much in as possible. So my NHL viewership has decreased a little bit, as it always does when the World Juniors are on. I did get to Vancouver, Philadelphia on December 28th at Rogers Arena. The positives of that game, I got to see the nice new Jumbotron, which is really cool. The negatives of the game was everything else because they played terrible.
For some reason, almost every game that my friends go to, they lose. And I don't know why. That just keeps happening.
I
But
have a very
everyone
good,
just mentions the Jumbotron.
yeah, I have a good lifetime record. Like I've been blessed with a very lucky streak, I'd say. Definitely more than double the amount of wins to losses, despite the fact that they've been bad more than they've been good in my lifetime. However, that Thursday night was quite tough to watch.
I mean, I've asked you this before and I'll ask you again. I mean, we talk about rink snacks often. What rink snacks or, I mean, pregame meal, whatever, what'd you go for? What were you eating in downtown Vancouver that night?
My dad and I hit the old spaghetti factory in Gastown, and there was a second loaf of bread that came, so I was not in the mood for arena snacks. My arena snacks were 2 bottles of water. That was all.
Wow. Okay. Okay. I will say I was pretty disappointed with Rogers' arena snacks for a while. And then me and my buddy snaked our way into club seats through an app that I will not mention because they don't sponsor us, or just someone sponsor us already, please. Um and so I got to sit in club seats for like $100. And man, the food options in the club section, oh my God, so much better. There is so much more, and the service is so much quicker, and it just seems like they put more effort into it.
So James, I've never had a ticket to sit in the club seats, but I know that to be true, and it's story time off the top because I'm going to tell you why right now.
Let's hear
So
it.
when I was in the 12th grade, which it was both longer ago and not as long ago as it seems simultaneously. So this would have been like the COVID year where it started in March. So 2019 October, I got 4 tickets for me and 3 of my buddies to go see the Blackhawks and the Canucks on Halloween. The Blackhawks and the Canucks are obviously rivals. It was a very tense game, and me and 2 of my buddies out of the 4 of us that went, all dressed up as blind referees as our Halloween costume. It got a plethora of Jumbotron notoriety because it was a very tense game with a lot of contentious calls. So every time a call went against Vancouver, we would stand up, put on the glasses, and pretend to be blind, and then they would put us on the Jumbotron and we would get a cheer. The 4th friend that went with us was a Blackhawks fan, and the Canucks won, which made the night even sweeter. But during one of the intermissions, I did the whole shtick. I put the glasses on and I took the walking stick out, and I was like, "Okay, I just want to see if this works." And I walked straight into the club section, and one of the people like half started to stop me to ask for a ticket, and then I could kind of see in my peripheral vision them be like, "Oh, forget it. Just let me walk in." So I went in there and I didn't really know what to do. So I think I just bought sodas for me and my buddy. But I did see I was behind the line and got to see everything. Very cool. But yeah, that was quite funny.
I also envy them for being able to order food to their seat. Like, I do like the get up and walk around thing, but that'd be pretty cool, like during an exciting portion of the game where you got a hankering for something and you can just order a quesadilla to your seat. That's pretty cool.
Is it worth how much more expensive those tickets are? No, would be my vote. But
Not
if you
likely, but if you got money to throw around, then why not?
Yeah, we don't have money to throw around, James.
Yeah. Not yet. One day. One day. When we become millionaires from this podcast, for sure, which will totally happen.
Do you
Well,
think I think if we make any money off this podcast ever, we should have like I know nobody pays anybody in cash anymore, but like the first dollar we should make sorry, we make off this, which hasn't happened yet in almost a year and a half. Like it has to be like this monument we make for it. Like we have to frame the screenshot of the bank account that says $1.
okay, a screenshot, and then we have to use the money we get from it to buy some really obscure, cheap piece of hockey memorabilia to frame with it. Like with our first check for this podcast, we bought a Nigel Dawes puck.
James, it's January 2nd as we're recording it, and you saying random piece of hockey memorabilia reminded me that I bought you a Christmas present and I haven't given it to you yet.
Ooh, okay, okay.
So I'm back. I leave on the 6th, so there's time.
I actually happen to have gotten you something too. It's very small and odd.
Mine is small. I don't think it's odd. It's a callback. It's a hockey thing, and the player was somebody you mentioned having a connection with on the podcast before.
Well, I'm
So
actually really excited to mention it on our next pod now.
yeah, yeah. Anyways, we've been yapping for 9 minutes, so let's go to the NHL so then I can talk about the World Juniors.
Yeah,
After.
because that's really all you're thinking about now, isn't
That's all I've watched.
it? Okay, start off some NHL news. More moving and shaking than Ottawa's front office. They have named Steve Staios as permanent general manager. Permanent, I mean, as permanent as a GM can be. He had the interim tag before after taking over for Pierre Dorian. Now is in office there for Scherzies. And Dave Poulin, longtime Senators analyst on TSN, is now their VP of hockey ops, I believe. And yeah, it's just I want to say that's probably the end of the moving and shaking for now. Like they will inevitably have a different coach next season, I believe. Like they quite the elderly legend in office there behind the bench now. So that's something that I believe will change eventually. But I mean, this begs the question for Ottawa as they have lost 6-3 tonight. They are losing a lot of games. They are not doing awesome. What comes next? What do you think happens next in Ottawa, Aiden? Whether that's a roster move, whether that is trades to be made, whether that is looking forward to this upcoming draft. What do you got?
Yeah, I think all that you can really hope for is the young guys take a step, right? Shane Pinto comes back from his suspension and he really grows into that middle six center role and hopefully into that top six center they hope he's going to be. You hope Jake Sanderson takes another step forward. You hope kind of the the not high end first rounders they took, somebody like a Lassie Thompson maybe can make strides that was expecting of him before that he hasn't made yet. Jacob Bernard Docker in that category too, because honestly, James, like I look at that core: Stutzla, Kachuk, Batherson, Sanderson, Chikrin, Shabbat, Pinto, uh, Norris. Like those young guys are all so good. And if I'm Ottawa, I like that as a core to move forward with. It's just not working. And I think they're young enough that you can be patient, but you can't wait forever. And I think a lot of questions have to be answered in the offseason. And you know, like I like Claude Giroux there. I do wonder
I
who are,
love him there.
yeah, I do wonder who are the other veterans that you can surround this young core with to prop them up. It because Giroux does wonders, but who else?
I mean, if this keeps going the same way it is, and I can't imagine it's going to get that much better, they're not going to make playoffs. Do you move Vladimir Tarasenko? I believe he's signed for 2 years, isn't he?
I would trade Tarasenko. I would
Yeah,
for sure. I yeah,
he's
like
playing well.
he's looked good in Ottawa's nice home black jerseys they have. And I think there's going to be a team much like last year. Obviously, he was traded to the New York Rangers at the deadline. There's going to be a team looking to add a top six winger. Absolutely, right? Like I would love him on Vancouver if they could fit him in salary cap wise. I don't think that's possible. But yeah, like I think any contending team that can fit him in and doesn't hate what Ottawa's asking for him should take a bite. He's a very talented player. He's very capable.
It seems like with Tarasenko, every time that I think he's going to really ramp down and not be that great anymore, he just comes back and keeps scoring goals and keeps piling up points and keeps looking dangerous. You just got to wonder, when is it going to happen?
Well, and I think that's why I think he's going to be perennially stuck on that short term 1 or 2 year, you know, not super high AAV, not a super low AAV, but just those contracts where it's like, all right, go do what you can do. Um, but nobody's going to commit to him long term because of that, right? Like he's had surgeries, he's had injuries, and yeah, like you said, like he's already this is like the 14th year of his professional hockey career now. Like he's not a young guy anymore.
Totally, totally. And I mean, I just got to give him props for coming back from those injuries and going into a new city and really just making a statement that he's still sticking around. I mean, the one other thing that I think, if I'm Ottawa, is you got to I think it's time to get back in that mindset of taking a chance on some players that other teams might be done with. You gotta like to fill out a couple middle six or like fourth or fifth defenseman roles. Guys who, I mean, guys who could have a resurgence with them and flourish in a new role. Maybe a guy who hasn't worked out as a top six winger somewhere else and is in that early mid 20s age and can continue to grow with this team. I don't think adding a million veterans is going to work. I think the right mix of veterans is needed. And I think they have a couple good ones, but I think it's time to put your rod back in the water, see what you can fish out. I mean, I think that's all I got in Ottawa. And as an overexcited at all times Avalanche fan, I of course have more Colorado updates because Jonathan Drouin, who was struggling for quite a while, bouncing around throughout the lineup, and has seemingly fixated himself on the top line with Nathan MacKinnon, who is one of the best players in the NHL right now at every moment, if not the best. Like it's nonstop with this guy. Drouin's got 10 points in his last 10 games. Most of them are at even strength, and he's just showing up. And he's not just a passenger on that line. A lot of the time, you could say, oh, well, he's playing with one of, if not the best players in the league who's piling up points nonstop. Sure, you could often say that. But if you watch the games, Drouin is a very, very important piece of that line. You can't just throw anyone there. A lot of the time, people would go, oh, it's Crosby. You can just throw any winger with them. But no, it takes a specific skill set and a specific amount of talent to be able to play with extremely high end players. You can't just throw anyone up there. And yeah, as I said, certainly not a passenger. He's making incredible plays, and it's not just those highlight reel things you would expect from him. It's often the smart play. And we look back to the start of this season. I believe I said the points aren't coming, but he's doing the right things out there and he's working hard. And that's often the Jared Bednar reclamation project way of thinking. That's how it was done with Val Nichushkin. I'm not saying he's going to become as good as Val Nichushkin. That is just, Nichushkin is a top end player at every end of the ice. He's very important, and I don't know what that team does without him at times. And he's just doing everything he's asked. I couldn't really put it any other way. Then on the MacKinnon note, before I spout off, Aiden, what are you seeing from the sheer Nathan MacKinnon dominance that's going on?
Well, last podcast, I think I called him the best version of a hockey player not named McDavid since Crosby in his prime, and he continues to live up to that. Like he, I for a while now, the NHL to me has been McDavid by himself in terms of the best players. McDavid by himself, a gap, Makar by himself, another gap, and then a group of great players that MacKinnon was one of. And I think he's pulled away from that group of players. And now you have McDavid, Makar, and MacKinnon, not necessarily in the same category, but those three players for me are now head and shoulders above the rest of the league. And I think for Nathan MacKinnon, like he's playing himself into first place on my Hart Trophy ballot, right? Like he is. He continues to be the best player on the ice every time he's out there. And what I love of him is it's the motor, right? Like it's just he never stops working. There is never a time where he's on the ice that he isn't engaged in either where the puck is or where the puck's going. And that's something for a lot of high-end players that, like I talk about it a lot on this podcast. Some of the league's high-end centers that I think, yeah, they're piling up points. I've talked about Jack Hughes like this. You need to be better off the puck. You need to be better in your own zone. Right now, you watch a Nathan MacKinnon hockey game, and it's almost like a case study for the perfect centerman right now. Like, what can you tell him to do better? It's impossible. There's nothing, right? And I think,
Win more faceoffs, maybe? I don't know.
and that's a reach for that. Like, that's it. So I think for the Colorado Avalanche, like, losing Lehkonen and losing Landeskog, obviously, like it had the potential to just sink this team, but Nathan MacKinnon and Rantanen and Makar obviously as well, but MacKinnon leading the way to make Colorado, just as much of a cup contender as they've ever been.
Totally, I agree with everything you said, and I have to ask, did you see the highlight where he hit Sharks defenseman Troy Emerson and loudly exclaimed that he had just done that?
No, I didn't, but send that to me after.
Aiden, I think he barked at him.
That's that's in character.
He absolutely smoked him and then did a shoulder pump downward and went, oh, and he was making eye contact with him the whole time. It was fantastic. And so Nate Dogg's put up another 3 points tonight. He is currently 3 points behind Nikita Kucherov, who has 61. Same amount of games played. Kucherov just keeps getting power play assists every time I think MacKinnon's going to catch him that night. And it's making it a fun, tight race. MacKinnon's got 8 points on Artemi Panarin and David Pastrnak, 10 points on Willie Nylander and a few other guys. McDavid's right there behind Nylander as well. It's a really fun race. It's not just McDavid ahead of everyone by 30. And I'm really enjoying that. If MacKinnon doesn't end up in the top three in points, I don't really care. It's just been a lot of fun to watch. A lot of extra names going in there, and it's I don't really know what more you could ask for. And then on the Hart Trophy thing, I know the reason why he's in consideration so much this year again. It's because I didn't bet on him to win the Hart this year.
That's like me with Demko and the Vezina. Same thing.
The past 4 years, I've bet on MacKinnon to win the Hart, and I haven't even gotten a sniff. I couldn't even pull out for 10% of what I bet, which admittedly was only $30, but most of the time, but still, I think I've just decided never to bet on him for the Hart again, ever. And
Do this.
but knowing the NHL, he's gonna get nominated and come second.
To who?
I don't know, probably like Taylor Hall or something again, even though he's not playing. No, I mean, in all seriousness, that's really hard. Probably Panarin.
Kucherov deserves a shout, right? Like Braden Point is Braden Point is Braden Point. He's the best version of Point, really. The last 2 seasons that we've ever seen, he's a top end center. Stamkos is putting in a good shift. Brandon Hagel's playing well, but the rest of the Tampa Bay Lightning, like Victor Hedman's taking a step back, right? And
He's looked really good lately.
he's looked better lately than he started the year for sure. But for me, looking at Tampa and just the players in that core going through the aging process, and obviously some of those nice depth pieces moving on, salary cap ramifications of winning those Stanley Cups, um, Kucherov deserves a shout for sure. And I think right now Kucherov and McKinnon would be my 1-2, and it would be tough for third place.
I think I would have to give Panarin third right now. That guy is like willing wins. Like he's doing that game breaking forward thing where like the team surrendered the last 5 or 6 shots on goal, hemmed in their own end, and then he just goes and makes a play all by himself. And even if he doesn't end up on the score sheet, it's going in the net.
He's been one of my favorite players since he got in the league, and I really he's a guy that I want to succeed, right? Like if the Rangers win the cup, I'll be happy for him above everything else.
There's one thing that I didn't throw on our rundown that I do well that you didn't throw on our rundown. I don't do the rundowns. I'm the laziest one of the two of us, and our listeners should know that Aiden is the undisputed MVP here. But Sam Reinhart has put up 44 points in 36 games. It's a contract year for him. I'm going to take partial credit for this because I interviewed him for City News right before the Stanley Cup Finals, and I gave him the bump probably. That was me. Um, and yeah, I mean it's looking incredible for him. But I just want to ask, I mean, like he's in his late 20s, and we are seeing him have the best offensive year of his career. What does a Sam Reinhart command on the open market and free agency?
I think you're looking contract total probably around $70 million, right? Like that's and I say that because if you're gonna give him like a 6 year deal, it's gonna probably have to be like the Artemi Panarin number, like 11.6 ish. But if you go long term, you go max term, you go seven. Again, if he signs with Florida or if he gets traded before he signs, he can sign an 8 year contract. If you go 8 years, you could probably get him at 9, right? That's kind of what I mean by 70 is, it'll depend on the term. The AAV will depend on the term, but that's kind of what I'm thinking is if it's 8 years, 9 million a season. If it's 7 years, yeah, you're probably looking at 10, and then 6, 11. Just that's going to be the total, I think, right? And I think, for somebody in their late 20s, it's it's not a no brainer to just throw an 8 year contract at this guy, right? Like I know perfect world, the salary cap is done by AAV, so okay, well if you can get him for less than $9 million, why not give him an 8 year contract? Well, he's going to be 36. That's why, right? You give him a 6 year contract, he's done at 34, and then you're not committing that much money for that long of a time. So, yeah, I think whatever the term is going to be, I think you're looking at between 67 and 72 million bucks as the total.
I mean, luckily Florida can offer a better tax situation, so that could bring the AAV down. But I mean, can you think of any teams off the top of your head that in free agency would look at him? I mean, I started thinking of like a Chicago, Arizona type beat.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Like I do wonder when Anaheim is going to think they can take a bite at something like that as well as the up and
Totally.
comer. Uh, Buffalo and Ottawa are the other teams that are kind of the on the upswing that you think, okay, well maybe that's a little bit muddled. Steve Eiserman's impossible to predict anything from. Like who knows what Detroit does? They threw a lot of money at Comfort and Cop. Um, so I don't know if they're going to make another forward splash in free agency. Or do you look at a team like a Pittsburgh or a St. Louis? And I know neither of those two teams has the cap space for them, but a team like that in the sense of somebody who's like, we got to win a Stanley Cup right now. We're as win or bust as we possibly could be. Let's throw a long term deal at them to hopefully win us a cup in the next 2 3 years, and then who knows, right? Like we've seen teams do that many times. like a Washington, right? I don't know what Washington's cap situation is right now. I probably should, but like he might be a fit on the Capitals because Evgeny Kuznetsov has been on the way out for years now. Anthony Mantha is not the Anthony Mantha they traded for.
And they also have a 9 point whatever $1 million cap hole relief coming from Nicholas Backstrom, probably never playing again.
Yeah. So if you think teams on the upswing, Arizona makes a lot of sense. Chicago makes a lot of sense. But I think almost just as likely to me would be a team like Washington, where it's like come in and help us try desperately to win something in the next couple of years. Because the start of this year, I thought Washington was done and they're in a playoff spot, which I
They
didn't
play
expect.
hard, man. They
Yeah.
play really hard.
Yeah. And I didn't expect that at this point of the season. So kudos to them. Kudos to John Carlson and Dylan Strome for playing some of the best hockey of their careers as well.
Definitely, definitely. And I mean, the free agent waters get even more muddy when we consider the fact that William Nylander is going to walk in and make buckets of money from who knows who. So, I mean, I love chaos and movement. So, even though we're not even at the halfway point in the season, I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking about that a lot. But moving on, Sidney Crosby has accomplished another great goal. Moving into sole position of what is it, 12th on the all-time points list or 14th?
I think it's 12th.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible how this guy just keeps doing it nonstop. It's you watch a game and you're like, that guy is not his age. This is not correct. I don't get it. But you just love to see it. You love to see it keep going. And I mean, where do you think he finishes? Right now, we have 1,540 points in 1,226 games. Next on the list is Ray Bourque, who he's 39 points behind. After that, Phil Esposito, who he's 50 points behind. And then it starts getting a little bit tougher. Joe Sakic's 101 points ahead of him.
Are you asking me where he ends up in his career?
Yeah, how many points do you think this guy piles up by the end of this?
More than those three guys. Like he leapfrogs Sakic, Esposito, and sorry, who was the third name you said?
Ray Bourque, that one's this
Yeah,
season for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. All of those guys because again, like he's under contract. He clearly wants to be a Pittsburgh Penguin because if he didn't, he wouldn't still be there. Pittsburgh is still committed, and it will be to the like they're going to be bad for a while after this, but they're still committed to surrounding him with decent players for as long as he wants to be there at the expense of the future. So why not? Why not? Why couldn't he get another 100 career points?
Okay,
Absolutely.
okay. Here's the benchmark I would love to see. So Ron Francis sits fifth in all-time points with 1,798. That is like basically 248 more points than Crosby. So Crosby could end with 1,800 points, be fifth all-time scorer.
I wouldn't bet on it, but I also wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm thinking there.
Yeah, I mean, like
But you know
below
what?
that, there's Dion, Iserman, and Lemieux, who like he'll get a couple of those. He'll pass Mario.
Yeah, and I hate to say this, and obviously this would be terrible, but Crosby's also had his injuries, right? Like we're saying all this assuming it'll be a clean bill of health. We don't know that, right? Like obviously it's it's been very well covered the injury problems Crosby has had, and without those injury problems, man, like we're he's already right on Francis's tails, if not already past him, right? Like, and I know that sounds dramatic to say, he was putting up points around the time he was knocked out of commission, right? Like he was an unbelievable player, and we probably would have seen him put up some like McDavid numbers in those seasons because he missed two seasons out of his prime, where that's another 250 points at least, I think, right there.
Definitely, definitely. I mean, yeah, it's we miss out on a lot. I mean, I will say there have been significantly less injuries since him and McKinnon's friendship blossomed, and Nathan McKinnon eats a lot of yams. So maybe he got on the McKinnon yam diet and maybe that's why he's been getting injured less. So if Sidney Crosby's listening to this, continue eating yams. That's what we hope for, is more points and more yams.
Sidney Crosby is not listening to this.
You don't know that for sure. You can't
I
guarantee that.
I can guarantee that.
I mean, it's 99 point infinite nines, but there is always a chance that he has clicked on this by accident.
Sid, DM the Instagram if you're hearing this. And hop on as a guest.
Yeah, we would love to have you on. All right. Well, one more point of NHL news I just want to touch on. Winter Classic. Did you see it? What did you think of what you saw? Give me your thoughts.
Those Seattle jerseys didn't look as nice on the ice as they did off the ice. I'll tell you that.
The Vegas ones looked better on the ice.
I agree with that. Yeah. Um, it was okay. James, honestly, again, I said this. I think I don't know if I've said this on this podcast before. I've been very open about my feelings towards outdoor games, though. The Stadium Series completely, in my opinion, and I don't want to use the word ruined, but it tarnished the specialness of outdoor games for me, right? Like there was a couple seasons there where like every month you'd have an outdoor game, and I just stopped caring. And I know that that doesn't happen as much anymore, but I haven't got back on the I give a crap bandwagon yet with outdoor games. When I was a kid, like I remember the first few Winter Classics I ever watched, right? Like I there was definitely a time around 2014, 2015 when a like 12-year-old me would have been able to tell you the score of every single Winter Classic without a doubt. Well, I don't know what a Winter Classic is. I don't know what a Stadium Series game is anymore, right? Like I don't care, and I blame the NHL. um, and watching what I did see of the Winter Classic, I didn't feel like I was missing too much.
I can sympathize with all of that, and I point towards one other thing you didn't mention. In 2021, they did Colorado and Vegas at Lake Tahoe for an outdoor game. It looked beautiful. Ice problems and having to finish the game later that night aside, which was hilarious. Um, like pausing a game and going back to it 6 hours later because the sun went down and you could fix your ice. That is hilarious. But they gave us something that had incredible views. It was a broadcast spectacle. The people that were there, players wise, media members, they very clearly loved it. And then we go back to just making an ice rink in a baseball field or a football field. I don't really care. We've been doing that. We've been doing that for so long. It doesn't excite me at all. Like, okay, if you bring back HBO 24/7 Road to the Winter Classic, follow both teams throughout the season on the way to it, okay, you got me. You built some anticipation.
But Ilya Bryzgalov has to somehow be involved because he was the best part of that HBO 20 any of the HBO 24/7 stuff. Was him
I mean, the
talking.
Caps Penguins one was great too because the teams were so close knit and they had such great personalities. I just don't care all that much. Like, you're not giving me things to care about. You're giving me boring. And I don't like that. It's not fun. There's nothing fun about it. So show me something exciting or find a new idea. That's basically what I think. And sounds like you're in the same boat.
Yeah, and unfortunately, like for me, I think it's gonna have to be like it's gonna have to wow me to get me to care again. Like airlift everybody to the top of Whistler Mountain and do it there.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm fully on board with that. Like, do it in Banff.
Yeah, Lake Louise.
Yeah. I mean, go back to Lake Tahoe. It looks great. Why not? Why are we not doing this? It just I don't get it. I mean, I understand ticket revenue. That's probably a big portion of it.
That's
People
the
selling tickets to
reason.
that.
Yeah, that's yeah.
That's probably the whole thing.
It is. You're right. Well, you can pack how many people into that stadium in Seattle, right?
What, like 50?
More than that, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, we answered our question. It's ticket revenue.
Yeah, and like I'm the one sitting here saying like I don't care about this. I'm the one that paid for a ticket to go to the Heritage Classic this year.
Yeah,
Like so,
true.
yeah.
How much were those tickies?
I do not remember. Both of them were much more than I'd spend on a regular NHL game, though. I know that.
And was it that much more of a spectacle?
It was a very cool thing. I don't regret it, and I'm happy I checked it off my bucket list.
And would you do it again if the game is close to you?
Uh Probably it would be very dependent on a lot of different factors, but I would not be closed off to it, but I would not necessarily chomp at the chance and be like, I have to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Well, it sounds like we just answered their question of why they're not doing anything cool and new and innovative. All right, well, moving on. We have so much World Juniors to cover. Canada's gone.
Oh my
Without me
God.
some knowledge, Aiden.
James, like, I love this tournament and I've been excited about this since September. And watching that puck go in the net today, that I I I felt like my heart got ripped out. Um First of all, massive kudos to Czechia. Like the Czechs continue to improve. They didn't have David Juracek back. They lost Adam Juracek at the beginning of this tournament. And Yuri Kulik, Edward Shala have played so well in this tournament. And that Czechia team just looks like a group on a mission.
Edward
And
Shaw is better than I thought he was.
I'm happy that he's doing this because yeah,
You dunked on him a bit last year. I remember that.
I did, but then I also had him like very high on my mock draft. I don't know if you
Yeah.
remember that too. I had him like 13th or something. Um, yeah, it sucks for Canada. So let's give as much credit to as we can to Czechia right now. What did you think of the Czechs?
I mean, Yuri Kulik is nasty, and the Sabres, I mean, we've talked about it before. They have yet another potential star. Nice. Have fun, Buffalo. Enjoy watching dynamic talent for significantly more years to come. Yeah, I they felt like a more cohesive unit than Canada. They just seemed put together, like they had the same game plan in mind. They also had role players. I can't point to specific names, but it felt like their lines had a mission. Specific lines had specific jobs. Whereas I feel like Canada, it was like roll all four lines, play the same game. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that Danielson Beck Allard line was the most role line you had, and there was three very talented players on that line, obviously. Um, yeah, the game today specifically against Czechia, it kind of sucks that we have to talk about Mathis Rousseau like this. He had an excellent preliminary round, was so good in all four games, was pretty good in the second and third periods of today's game too, the quarterfinal. But that first period and especially that second goal that's gonna keep him up at night. And it's a mistake and it sucks. But for Canada, Matthew Wood got the goal to make it 2-1. Classic Matthew Wood goal, perfect shot. Then Furlong tied it up at 2. But the Canadians, Matthew Savoy played pretty well today, James, but it was his best game of the tournament by far. I didn't like what I saw out of him in the 3 games he played in the group. He comes to mind just because you mentioned Buffalo prospects. Macklin Celebrini looked good in this tournament at 17 years old, but realistically, I wasn't super blown away with anybody else. This Canadian team, mind you, who I think we're missing, I would probably say 6 of their 8 best skaters: Bedard, Fantilli, Benson, Korchinski, Luneau, and Shane Wright.
Yeah.
And Shane Wright. Yeah. So, like when you're missing that much top end talent, the team's going to be weak. The team's going to be weaker than it could be, obviously, but I didn't find guys like Savoy stepped up in a big way. Jaeger was solid. Carson Rakoff was solid.
He was solid.
Um,
But you hear what you're saying, Aiden, and this is what we've all been saying is that nothing feels like it blew you away. Usually we have like when we watch Canada, there's a couple guys who are heroes. Like I look and take over games completely, important games. And even in a loss, they were still one of the best players on the ice. I didn't see that. Like, I think back to over a decade ago, like staying up all night to watch Canada take a really ugly deficit early on. And then Mark Scheifele just played out of his mind and made the game worth watching.
I remember that. Yep.
Yeah, it was like 3 in the morning, and I was just sitting there eating pizza pops and disappointed. And then all of a sudden, Mark Scheifele turns on the Jets, and no pun intended because he is a Jet. Um, and the game just became incredible and worth watching. I, full transparency, I fell asleep twice during this game. I wasn't blown away at any point. They were not full sleeps, they were quick doze offs, but like nothing made me super excited. I also didn't feel super excited or for anything around this team. Like halfway through the preliminary round, I remember thinking I don't care as much as I usually do about this team Canada. And I don't know why. I don't know why, just nothing blew me away. Nothing made me legitimately attached and excited like I usually feel. I'm just excited to see those players put that crest on their chest. And with this team, it wasn't it that there was no magic there. And we can talk on and on about missing the right players and the right roles not being filled, but the magic wasn't there either. And this is a game of bounces and puck luck and heart and soul. And I didn't feel that. I didn't feel that heart and soul.
I was very disappointed with Fraser Minton. Probably the last name I'll drop. Like,
A lot of people were.
yeah, there's there's the category of forgettable, didn't do much Canadian captains that he's gonna end up being remembered in, unfortunately for him. Um,
Curtis Lazar still carved out a cool career.
Curtis Lazar also won his World Juniors playing on a
Yeah,
great
true.
line. I'm more thinking what they did in the tournament rather than just.
Scotty
Oh,
Upshaw.
I was thinking Maxime Comtois. That was
Oh,
more.
okay, yeah, yeah, fair.
That's the.
I will always give Comtois a little bit of I'm gonna cut you some slack because of the death threats the guy received for missing that shot.
Oh yeah, I mean, off. Yeah,
So I refuse to say anything poor about the guy because he's already heard more than enough.
yeah. What happened to the guy on the ice didn't justify the way he was treated off the ice for sure. But like um, yeah, it's tough for Minton. It's tough for Canada. Great for Czechia, who move on. Um, Two overtime games. Sweden survived Switzerland, man. 2019 in Vancouver. Well, it was in Victoria, but the tournament in Vancouver looked like a lopsided Sweden Switzerland quarterfinal, and the Swiss managed to win. Sweden looks as good this year as they've really ever looked, man. At least in the first three games, they kind of stuttered a little bit against Finland in that last game of the group.
Ostland
But
is sick.
oh man, Oslan, Sandin Pellikka looks good. Lakuramaki looks good. They go up 2-0, and then man, Switzerland just make it a game. They force overtime. Sandin Pellikka ends up winning it in OT for Sweden. But man, if Switzerland erases a 2-0 deficit to lose 3-2, is that are we sitting here talking about one of the biggest World Junior disasters that a host has ever had?
It's high up there just because of how much they care about it and how much they put into their success at this tournament.
And how much this really feels, hopefully is still potentially Sweden's chance to win this for the first time since 2012, right? Like
How
it's
come like everyone I know is cheering for Sweden right now?
because Swedes are amazing people and it's an amazing country.
True. Okay, there we go.
That would be my guess.
Yeah.
um yeah, like I think my heart's in it for them as well. Finland beat Slovakia in quite a thrilling game as well. Philip Mashar, who had a great tournament, tied that one up late for Slovakia. Finland ends up winning in overtime. Finland, who looked really bad in the first two games of this tournament, they started 0-2. They lost to Canada. They were solid. They were fine. And then they lost to Germany, which, well, that was a tough game for them. And they managed to bounce back. They managed to upset Sweden in overtime. And they, on paper, they upset Slovakia. They were the higher seed. So we have a semifinal set Finland against the States, Czechia against Sweden. At the start of this tournament, if you asked me who are the two best teams, I would have said the USA and Sweden. And I think that will be the gold medal game, provided there's no big upset in the semis.
Have the Czechs ever won the WJCs?
Back-to-back years in the late 90s and or early 2000s. They've won 2.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Were there any like highlight players on that team, on those teams or something?
I do not remember.
Yeah, I don't either. And I'm trying to think like Patrick Elias wouldn't have been there.
No, because he won the cup as like a
Yeah.
devil right around that.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, it'd be a really cool Cinderella story for them to pull it out.
When they came so close last year, right? Like and yeah, like and I like it for Czechia. Like again, I'm gutted Canada's out, but this tournament, I don't like this tournament only having 4 really good teams. Without
yeah.
Russia, that's kind of what it looked like it was going to be. But Czechia have really stepped up in the last couple of tournaments to fill that role of no, we're legit, we're here.
I still feel really sorry for those talented Russian kids who can't get out there because of what their country is doing.
Yeah. Well, and James, I don't know if we brought this up in the last podcast or not. Um, Russia, the players at their disposal, I think they win this tournament.
Oh, their team would be nasty. Matvey Michkov would have 15 points right now.
Yeah, I think Russia wins this if they're in there. Demidov would be there.
Oh,
Michkov, Miroshchenko would be there, the guy from the Capitals.
they have a defenseman too coming up, right?
Simashev,
Yeah.
Ulyayev, the Colorado pick.
They've got another one this year too in this draft, don't they?
Anton Silayev this year, so it's another underager to go with Demidov.
He's ranked in the top 10, correct?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should be he'll be pushing top 5. He's going to be kind of like Simashev where he'll be right around there. I hope Sweden wins. It seems like the Americans are still going to be the favorites, but the US, we saw them sputter against Czechia once, and that could very much be their gold medal game opponent.
Could very well. I mean, what do you think is going to happen in these two games? Can you give me a couple semifinal predictions off the top of the dome?
I think we don't see a surprise. I think the Swedes beat the Czechs. They came so close to beating them in the semifinal last year. I think they pull it out this year. They're a better team this year than they were last year. Sweden is. And I think the US takes care of business against Finland. I don't think either game is a blowout. I think Finland plays their game and they give the USA a run for their money. But I think we see a Sweden USA 2013 gold medal game rematch if memory serves.
Well, I would love to see it. And Aiden, I know you have some thoughts on relegation ahead of Germany and Norway's matchup.
Yeah, why is it not best of 3? Like, anything can happen in one game. We just saw that with Canada Czechia. And obviously I know the tournament is, you know, like a medal round format. That's the whole point. Anything can happen in one game. But it's not like relegation in this tournament, James, used to be a round. There used to be 4 teams in it, and it was like a whole other group. It was a big thing, and I'm not saying I want it to be that, but I'm saying like a best of 3 between 2 teams was fine, right? Like I didn't see it need to be, I didn't see the need for it to be cut down from there. It's Germany, Norway. Germany's the favorite. I hope they stay in because they've been growing as a hockey country, and I hope they get better and better. But it just seems silly. It seems silly. I don't like it.
All right, and last question for you on these World Juniors. Does Cutter Gauthier have the player of the tournament locked if he continues at this pace, or is it someone else? What's your prediction?
Man, World Junior MVP. I've been very confused at some of the selections. Yuri Kulik is up there for me right now. I could definitely see him being in the conversation if the Czechs win their semifinal against Sweden. The Swedes, Sandin Pellikka, Osland, and Lekura have all played well enough to put their names into consideration. Cutter Gauthier, again, assists and goals mean the same for a reason in terms of points. He does only have 1 goal in 5 games, and so I don't know if that's going to work against him or not, but I hate predicting World Junior MVP at this point. Like we watched Ryan Poehling in Vancouver win MVP. James, I don't think he had a point in the knockout stage, if memory serves. I know for a fact he did not have a point in the semifinal or the gold medal game, which the Americans did not win the gold that year. He put up most, if not all, of his points in the preliminary round, and he was still given MVP, right? So any logic and reasoning, the World Junior, whoever picks it, has very often thrown that out the window. So it feels a little bit odd to be talking about that just because it's it's been proven so many times that it doesn't matter. For the US, I still think the best is to come for guys like Jimmy Snuggerud and Ryan Leonard. I've been really impressed with both of them. Cutter Gauthier, Gabe Perreault, and Rutger McGroarty have all been really good. Lane Hudson, I still think best is yet to come for him. He's looked good, but he hasn't been as dominant as I think he could be.
Trey
Um,
Augustine's been good.
Augustine's been very solid, yeah. For the Swedes, Tom Wielander, I think could still has a little bit more to give. Um, I really hope it's Sweden, man. Man, them winning it on home ice would be so cool. I'd love that. I'd love that. But we'll see, obviously.
Definitely will. Unless you have anything else to say on the tournament, it's time to move on.
Yeah, and we're moving on to another big thing here. The PWHL, man. What have you liked? What have you not liked? What have you seen?
Okay, well, they opened up on New Year's Day, which I didn't think was a phenomenal idea. Same day as the Winter Classic. I don't know. It just, the viewership thing didn't really seem great for me. And then there was one more issue that, in talking to a couple other people, they may have steered me away from it. But okay, so first game, New York beats Toronto in Toronto 4-0 at the Mattamy Athletic Center in front of I believe 2,700 people, and that was a sellout. So why are they in a 2,700 capacity rink for their opener when let me read out some other venues that they're playing at over the next month. TD Place, Excel Energy Center, UBS Arena. Oh, those are all NHL buildings that can fit a hell of a lot more fans. Why is your opener and the only game on your opening day? That's another issue for me. Why is there only one game on the opening day when you have multiple teams? I mean, maybe like you don't have to have them on at the same time, and they are broadcasted as well. Like they're on both TSN and Sportsnet. You can access them on both. So I don't understand that.
I don't think they're on cable, but it's like through Sportsnet Plus. Dude, they're on YouTube. That
Yep.
might be my favorite part of this whole thing, honestly.
Yep.
And that was what I was going to give massive kudos for. In the age of location blocks and some of the stupidest NHL streaming that we've seen online ever, like I'm very happy it's on YouTube because I'm so inclined to just have that on if I'm doing some other work. Just like uh
Totally.
the quality of hockey I thought was really good. That's what I'll
Yes,
definitely.
yes, that's what I was going to get to next. Was the highlights were great too. They were shared all over social media, and it seems like in a refing, like in a I mean something that would be fairly tightly refed. There were some big hits.
I loved that. That was probably my favorite part was the physicality that was A, brought by the players, and B, not discouraged by the officials.
That's
Uh
something that was a big knock on the women's game in international competition, and we're letting them fly, and I love it.
yeah.
I know a lot of girls who grew up playing high level hockey. They want to bang bodies just as much as the guys do. Let them play, let them get out there and have fun.
No, yeah. I agree with all your negatives, but I was very much left with an overwhelming sense of positivity for the first couple of days of the PWHL. Name your teams. That would be the other thing I think needs to happen. Give the teams the names, please.
Yeah,
Uh,
they did have names on the announcing day, but then you go on their website and it just says Toronto or Boston,
yeah,
and they all have the same logo.
it's just PWHL City right now.
Yeah, I don't like that at all.
And I think that has to do with the fact that they basically put this whole thing together in 6 months because the players didn't want to lose a whole year.
Which
Uh,
I love, which is awesome. The best players in the women's sport of hockey have had to miss out on so much.
I think the marketing is doing a good job in terms of the hey, these are the players that are playing in this. These are names you know. It's Poulin, it's Nurse, it's Coin, right? Like that I think is huge. Um, you know what I think is going to be really big for this man it's going to be the next Winter Olympics. And I know
Yeah.
that's years away, right? Like it's 2026. So we still have some time to wait before that happens. But I think this league will take a huge step forward. 2026 Olympics in Italy. Hopefully NHL players go. And if NHL players go, James, you know that the women's hockey tournament is going to get more eyes just because the men's hockey
Yeah.
tournament is going to get more eyes. And
Oh
I
yeah.
think if that's the case, you're going to see all these names lighted up at the Olympics, and then fans come back from the Olympics and want to watch them in action. And I think for the PWHL, it's continuing on these good things until something like that really elevates it. And it might not be the Olympics. It might be there's a women's world championship that every women's world championship, the viewers of the PWHL are going to go up. And it's I liked the start a lot. I liked the hockey I saw. I like the accessibility of it. I like the marketing of it. Name your teams. That's it.
The one thing that one of my coworkers said when I was disappointed by the fact that it wasn't played at the bigger venue on their opening day was that they can now say, "Look, we sold out our opening day." That is a bragging right.
Atmosphere too.
Yep, intimate environment, and on the broadcast, it looked and sounded phenomenal. The fans were very engaged. One very big hope I have is Saturday, January 13th. Their Montreal team plays host to the Boston team. I'm not familiar with the Verdun Auditorium. I hope it's something that could be packed pretty big, but I want to see a Marie-Philippe Poulin goal in Montreal. I want to see that a lot. And then moving forward, I just want to see a lot of eyes on their sport. Enjoy it. Have fun. I want to see once there's logos that actually look nice and once there's like team names, I want to see kids buying those jerseys. And then after that, show me a team in Vancouver once they're ready to expand in however many years they're ready. Awesome start. I agree with not starting with too many teams. Final note, keep an eye on Taylor Heisey. She is sick. She is a very, very good hockey player. I believe she's playing for the Minnesota team, and she was picked first overall in their draft. Very, very, very good hockey player. And yeah, I'm a big fan of everything I've seen so far. Um, yeah, just keep it up. Have a big social media presence as they have, and keep on going. Let it cook. Well, and moving out of our news of the day, of the week, whatever you'd like to call it, we get to move on to something I mentioned earlier. And this isn't the Great Canadian Hockey Podcast without a couple great games to play most of the time. This week, I'm going to give Aiden some trivia. I'm gonna give him one of those finish that trades. Those ones seem to track well. I had a couple friends that were big fans of those. And I'm gonna walk us into this one. This one is I'll give you a little bit of a precursor. So in March 2013, the Dallas Stars acquired Joe Morrow in the famed Morrow for Morrow swap that sent Brendan Morrow to the Pittsburgh Penguins, and also sneakily sent a 2013 third round pick that turned into Jake Gensel. Yeah, wow. And so the Stars have possession of Joe Morrow for not very long. Like 4 months later, I believe, he gets sent to Boston in a blockbuster trade. Boston acquires Riley Smith, Joe Morrow, Louis Erickson, and Matt Frazier. Dallas acquires Tyler Seguin, the rights to Ryan Button, and who? While you're thinking and pondering, how ridiculous is it that Pittsburgh got Jake Gensel in that trade?
I definitely also didn't know that at all, which
No.
it makes it more so messes with my brain more.
I actually couldn't imagine trading Joe Morrow for top six forward Brendan Morrow in the twilight of his career and then future Jake Gensel. That's just insane.
I've got it, I think. 2011 Stanley Cup final. This guy was very good for Boston in a
Yeah, you got it.
It's Rich Peverly.
Yep, that's right. That's very right.
I liked him. I liked him a lot. Even though he played for Boston Like I remember liking him beforehand, and yeah, he was one of those middle six guys that I just was like, this guy's sweet.
Yeah, the guy had heart and soul. Like he played with so much courage. Like he was just like so good out there, man. And then the hint I have was going to be when he didn't he like technically die on the bench in Dallas?
Yeah, I think he went into cardiac arrest at one
What
point.
was he pronounced dead or no?
No, no, no,
No.
no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, or he was close. That's what it was. And then random other thing, just a quick little bonus. Joe Morrow was traded one more time in his career in 2018. Do you have either of the teams, the final destination, anything? I wouldn't have this.
Winnipeg was one of them.
Yeah.
Didn't Winnipeg get him? Winnipeg got him for that cup push as like their sixth or seventh defenseman.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Yeah, they got him from Montreal for a fourth rounder.
Yeah.
Well, that's all I got. I mean, it's been a little bit of while. It's been a bit of a while. I mean, I've had some downtime in between family and friend events. So I've watched quite a few pretty decent movies. So I might as well ask you first. Do you have a movie of the week? Anything you watched recently that was just great, dumb, funny, or you just want to talk about?
Today I watched Moonlight for the first time.
I've
It was
actually never seen Moonlight. Sell me on it.
incredible. It was very, very well done in every way. The acting was excellent. The writing was excellent, but I think my favorite part of this movie was the way it was shot. The cinematography was very good. There were times where we'd be 5 minutes into a scene and the scene would have taken place through different perspectives and different not necessarily different places, but just a lot of different shots were utilized. And then I'd take a step back and I'd think, this has been one shot. Like the movie opens up with a 3 or 4 minute one shot where just the rotation of the camera around a conversation changes the perspective of it and even the feeling of it. The whole thing is shot in a way that just conveys like a whimsical emotion. It's the it's excellent, and the story is excellent as well. um I loved it. I it's just I would give it an 8.5 out of 10. It's a very strong movie.
A24 film. I didn't know it was done by them.
Yeah.
Wow. 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's wild. Wow. Okay. I'm actually watching an A24 film tomorrow. I'm going to see The Iron Claw with a friend of mine.
I've heard good things.
Yeah. I mean, you if it's done by A24 and it's a movie about pro wrestlers, you have to imagine that they're going to put a nice twist on it. And Zac Efron is not child Zac Efron anymore, and I I have a feeling he's going to be very good. So, for mine though, I watched Saltburn, and we briefly discussed this earlier. I've had everyone asking me if I watched Saltburn, and luckily it waited until after I had already seen it for everyone to ask me about it. And man, that's a wild movie. It is odd. There are very odd tones to it. When it opened up, I had no idea what it really was going to be about. And it seems like just some guys at a rich-ish college. They're at Oxford. And I didn't really see what it was going to be about. And it it was just such an odd sequence of events and character dynamics that leave you feeling puzzled, oddly comfortable, and um at times questioning why things happen at all. It was really interesting, and I've already seen that Rosamund Pike was given um nomination for best supporting actor for the Golden Globes for this performance, and the lead Barry Cogan or Coogan or Kagan, whatever it may be. um wow, he's good. He is very good. He has already got a nomination for Best Male Lead at the Golden Globes as well. So, I mean, that says what you want to say about it. But man, this is an interesting movie. And if you like the Batman movies at all, specifically Matt Reeves, Robert Pattinson Batman, Barry Keoghan is going to be playing the Joker in the second one of these that's coming sometime in the next couple of years. And he is such an odd, quirky performer in this movie. It really gives you a snapshot into what that might be. And I highly recommend it to everyone. I will say, do not watch it around family, maybe, or workplace people, whatever you want to call it, unless they are okay with seeing anything, because there are some really shockingly odd things seen and heard in this movie. And if you are watching it with parents and you see a scene with a bathtub, just get them to leave the room, get them to come back after. And that's all I will say about that one. Aiden, was there anything else you want to add this week?
I don't know. I don't think so. Not off the top of my head. I mean, again, today's been a sad day, James. Canada being out of the World Juniors, it's like it's gonna stick with you. It's gonna be one that's tough to shake off. I mean, like especially the quarterfinals are the worst day to lose, and it sucks that we're finishing on a disappointing note. But whether it's Czechia or Sweden or Finland, I hope one of those European countries gets glory in Europe this year.
So basically, on Aiden's end, go anyone but the States.
That is always my attitude and remains my attitude. Yeah.
Well, great Canadian hockey podcast listeners, we GH
GCH.
GCHP listeners. I can't use that one. It's not great.
No, I don't
Well,
like
guys,
it.
thank you so much for listening. Happy New Year to you all. I'm wishing you all the best, and we will catch you in the next one. So without further ado, let's roll that outro. Thanks, guys.